This always happens with the dear leader. So, check this out. You want to talk about coincidences? Check this baby out. Poll numbers dropping like a stone. I'm going to get into this later in the show. Apparently now, inflation, there are multiple reports coming out. Inflation is rising quickly. Chicken prices, all-time high. Meat, all-time high. Pork, all-time high. Gas prices, higher now than they have been in 6 years. The economy, clearly in trouble. The Democrats poised for a major shellacking and defeat in November. Iraq going up in smoke. ISIS taking over much of the country. The very unpopular trade for saving Private Abdullah, Bo Bergdahl, the Taliban 5 swap. On every front, the administration is crumbling. And so the dear leader needs a PR victory. He needs to deflect attention from what's going on in Iraq, from the economy, from the Gitmo 5 swap, from everything that's now engulfing this administration. And Shazam! What a coincidence! Shazam! Suddenly, out of the blue, on Sunday night, it's now been reported that U.S. Special Operations Forces, along with law enforcement, captured one of the ringleaders, Commander Ahmed Abu Katala, one of the commanders of Ansar al-Sharia, responsible for the attacks on Benghazi. They got one of the Benghazi masterminds. Apparently, the dear leader gave the order on Friday, and the operation took place on Sunday. He is now on his way to the United States. He is being held aboard a Navy ship. And so it now appears that our special forces, in a daring raid, captured him inside Libya. And now one of the ringleaders of Benghazi is going to be tried. He's being held by U.S. forces on a Navy ship. And the administration is touting this as a spectacular victory in the war on terror. This is incredible. Just, you mean in the midst of all of this turmoil and media criticism and all of this mess and debacle here at home and abroad, just now, all of a sudden, it's like a gift from the political gods. He just pulls this rabbit out of a hat. It's incredible. Dear leader, you're so lucky. How did that happen? It is so obvious that the capture was staged. It's so obvious they could have caught him years ago. They could have caught him over the last year and a half after the Benghazi attacks. And the reason why I can tell you this, because this man, who they captured, one of the suspected ringleaders of the Benghazi attack, Ahmed Abu Katala, gave interview after interview after interview to U.S. media outlets. Let me give you an example. Last August, openly, at a coffee shop in a prominent, well-known hotel in Benghazi, in front of countless people, sipping coffee, eating some baklava, having a good time, CNN's Arwa Dawson interviewed Abu Katala for 2 hours. And afterwards, after this interview, she said, quote, these are her words. This is from CNN. For a suspected terrorist who may have been involved in the murder of 4 Americans, he's really not that difficult to find. Arwa Dawson said during her report. So the CNN reporter saying, honestly, he's walking around Benghazi. He's walking around Tripoli. He's giving interviews to anybody who'll speak to him. Everybody knows he was one of the ringleaders. I had no problem calling him. I had no problem contacting him. I had no problem meeting him. We met in public. He shook my hand. And there he was, railing against the United States. It's not just CNN. I remember I read this. It was a piece by David Kirkpatrick. I remember I read the initial piece. This was in October 2012, 1 month after the attack. the New York Times, then a correspondent in North Africa, David Kirkpatrick, interviewed Abu Khatallah. Right there. They were drinking coffee at a prominent coffee shop. He kept saying, I'm here. If the Americans want to arrest me, they know where they can find me. And then he went on telling the New York Times reporter that it was the United States was to blame for all of these terrorist attacks, that we brought Benghazi upon ourselves. Quote, why is the United States always trying to impose its ideology on everyone else? According to Abu Khatallah. Why is it always trying to use force to implement its agendas? He gave it to outlet after outlet. I'm just citing you two examples. Foreign media, European media, American media, anybody wanted to yak with this guy. You could yak with this guy. Now, if any reporter can have that easy access to him, where this guy has been spotted in Tripoli in public, in Benghazi in public, drinking coffee, bragging about what he did in Benghazi, and it's been over 18 months, are you trying to tell me with a straight face that it actually took us 18 months to conduct an operation to get this guy? That we weren't surveilling him the whole time? And that this was one of his trump cards? That this for the dear leader was one of his aces in the holes? Where he's going to say, I'm going to play this card when I need it. When things are going bad, like in Iraq, like with the Taliban in Afghanistan, that trade didn't quite work out. Things are going bad with the economy. Things are going bad politically. You know what? I need a victory. Okay, I'll tell you what. Abdullah, I make a deal with you. Okay, Abdullah? We're going to arrest you now. We're going to pretend to arrest you. Don't worry. I'm sending 300 troops into Iraq. By the way, the dear leader is now thinking of sending in now 100 U.S. Special Forces. So now we're incrementally going back into Iraq. When some of them get captured, and they inevitably will, don't worry. I can always trade you for them. Don't relax. Put on some weight. You'll enjoy Gitmo. I'm telling you, you'll eat well. Satellite television. You can watch the World Cup. Have a good time. In a couple of months, when our boys are captured, the few that aren't beheaded, we'll trade you. Easy. Don't worry about it. This is so obvious. They could have caught him in October of 2012. The New York Times reporter openly said he couldn't believe how easy it was to reach him, how accessible he was. I was walking around in public. Everybody knew who he was. Everybody even knew his cell phone number. The reporter literally said, I just called him on his cell. Dring, dring, yes, this is Abu Khatallah. Yes, yeah, Benghazi, yes. I was there, yes. Yes, I was ringleader. Yes, yes, I like to kill Americans. Yes. You want to interview? No problem. Where you go? I like the Azizi coffee shop. Very, very good coffee. It's not American coffee. You see, I don't like American coffee. No, I don't drink American coffee. Here is Fox News reporter. He's actually one of the few reporters out there actually doing some serious reportage. James Rosen. He confronts the State Department official. She's really just an official liar. Jen Psaki. This woman just lied. She lied about the Taliban. She lied about Benghazi. Just lie after lie. Lying about Putin, how apparently Putin is petrified of Obama. Lie after lie after lie. Well, here is James Rosen saying the obvious. If all of these media people were able to reach him for interviews in public over 18 months, how come you guys didn't arrest him then? And watch her lie and dance and spin. Roll it, Brittany.
In response to Matt's questioning, you stated, I'm paraphrasing but faithfully, that we should not be surprised that a suspected terrorist might more readily agree to show up for an interview with a reporter than he or she would for a scheduled meeting with the U.S. Special Forces. And respectfully, I submit to you that that is not properly framing the question, as no one would expect a terrorist to show up for a scheduled meeting with the U.S. Special Forces. The question being put to you, it seems to me, is why U.S. Special Forces couldn't have an unscheduled meeting with this individual in a period of time less than, as you put it, just a few years.
Well, James, with all due respect, I would say there are reasons why individuals, including terrorists, meet with reporters to gain more attention for their issues or their agenda. That is entirely different from any operation to take these individuals into custody. And there are a range of factors taken into account. Where we are today is that this individual, with the support and leadership of the military, the Justice Department, a range of officials in the interagency, has been apprehended. And that is an important step forward in our view.
So I guess the question, following your own logic, the next question to be propounded to you is, why didn't we pose as a reporter to capture him then?
Well, we appreciate your view. If you're volunteering yourself for future endeavors, we'll take that into account.
In other words, you're still not addressing the central question, Jen. You're not answering the question of why a reporter was able to get within 6 inches of this guy and U.S. Special Forces weren't for more than 2 years. What is the answer to that?
Well, the answer, James, is that reporters have interviewed a range of terrorists in the past. There's nothing new about that. They have their own desire to get their story heard, their agenda heard. That's entirely different from taking the steps necessary to apprehend someone in a country, a third country, a second, not the United States, as has happened in this case. We did it as expeditiously as possible, took into account a range of factors, and where we are today is that the outcome was successful.
Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. BS, BS. Literally, you can just pile the BS upon the BS. Normally, let's say there was one guy from ABC News. His name escapes me. He was one of the few American journalists to interview Osama bin Laden. Okay, this was before the 9/11 attacks. I've actually interviewed a few terrorists. This goes back to the 90s. You are blindfolded. You're put in a car, and you're driven for hours into some undisclosed location. And only when you meet them do they take your blindfold off. You're basically in a secluded room. You have no idea where you are. None. That's how these interviews are usually done. Not when you're meeting a guy in downtown Tripoli or downtown Benghazi at a 5-star hotel in a very popular coffee shop, completely in the open, where he's there smoking the Marlboros, sipping coffee, and everybody's calling him, "Hey, Abu, how you are, Abu? Good job on Benghazi." And they're high-fiving him, okay? So it's obvious. I mean, even the reporters were saying, I go, CNN. I mean, you don't get a bigger shill for the Obama regime than CNN. The CNN reporter openly said, quote, I'll give it to you again. After she interviewed the guy for 2 hours, she goes, "This guy won't stop talking. Just for this guy, yak, 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 yak." For a suspected terrorist who may have been involved in the murder of 4 Americans, he's really not that difficult to find. They could have gotten him in October, in November, in December of 2012, anytime last year, anytime this year. They pulled this rabbit, this story out of their you-know-what to help the president distract attention, deflect attention from all of his multiple failures around the world. And by the way, I was kidding. He's not being sent to Guantanamo Bay, obviously. They are going to try him in a civilian court here in the United States. So this murderer, we're actually going to even give him a lawyer on top of it all. 617-266-6868 is the number. My question to you is this. Is it cause to celebrate that one of the ringleaders has been captured? And secondly, do you believe that the administration knew where he was the whole time and that this is now simply a public relations ploy to make Obama look bad as Iraq goes up in flames? 617-266-6868, 721 on the great WRKO. Your calls next.
This is AM 680 WRKO.
You don't need to introduce yourself. All you need to say is...
7:29 here on the great WRKO. Vinny, you're up next, and welcome, my friend.
Jeff?
Hi, Vinny. How are you?
Well, I'm getting better all the time, and I want to comment on the Benghazi thing, but I want to say thank you to you, Bill Cooksey, Brittany, and everyone in Kuhner country, and Lauren that coordinated that the cards, the letters, and everything. I want to say thank you so much, and I appreciate it. My wife and I, we read all of them, and tears in our eyes, and it was just so much love, kindness, and concern.
Vinny, we take care of our own on Kuhner country. Now tell me, buddy, before we get into Benghazi, how are you feeling? You getting better?
Well, I'm getting stronger, and I still have a ways to go, and next month or so I'm going to be getting another PET scan to double check the results of all the radiation treatment, and but I'm very confident that everything is going to come out A-OK, and when you get love, kindness, and concern from so many people, and people that you don't know, you just get better even faster. Good. Yeah. So this topic this morning, Jeff...
Vinny, before we get to the Benghazi, now remember, I'm looking forward to having that dinner with you, Vinny. So is Kuhner country. We're all going to have a nice dinner with you once you get that bill of health.
Okay.
Once the doctor says Vinny is completely cancer-free, my friend, you're going to have the best steak dinner you ever had in your life.
Okay. And I'm looking forward to that, too, believe me. But I might have to wait a little longer for my taste buds to come back.
Vinny, whatever works for you, my friend. We can wait a little longer. We can wait if you want to do it a bit quicker, but we want you to have a nice steak dinner to celebrate your victory over cancer.
God bless you. God bless America. I love you, Jeff. I love you. I love you. Thank you. I'm looking forward to that, believe me. And I hope I can meet some of these people that wrote in these wonderful things. And, oh, gee.
See, Vinny, step one was to free Justina. Step two is to get Vinny healthy again, have him beat the cancer. Step three is we're going to repeal the gas tax, the indexing of the gas tax.
Amen.
You see, and then step four is we're going to take back the Senate and start impeachment. You see, that's the plan, Vinny. So you're part of the master plan, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, Vinny, before I'm up against it, but very quickly, what are your thoughts on Benghazi? You think this thing was staged?
I think it was staged. And real quick, when I watched Obama on TV, there was an odor coming through the TV, an Obama odor, and I think I really do smell a pardon when he finishes. He's going to pardon this guy. He's going to pardon him.
Thank you for that call, Vinny. Hey, with this guy, honestly, nothing would surprise me anymore. 617-266-6868. They captured one of the Benghazi ringleaders. Shazam! What a coincidence. Just now. Do you believe it was staged? I want to hear from you, Boston. What do you make of it? 617-266-6868. Let's take it to Angela in the newsroom. 740 here on the great WRKO. 617-266-6868 is the number. It was like a miracle. One of the Benghazi ringleaders, Ahmed Abu Katala, who has been giving interviews to CNN, the New York Times, in public, in coffee shops, in Tripoli, in Benghazi, just shazam! Just suddenly was just captured on Sunday by the dear leader, Special Operations Forces. Obama is now touting this as a major victory in the war on terror. Notice now, all of a sudden, they care about Benghazi. All of a sudden, now it's no longer what difference does it make. Now, all of a sudden, whoa! A couple of weeks ago, Hillary sat down for a private lunch with the dear leader at the White House. Who does this help? Hillary. This now will give Hillary more cover going into the 2016 campaign. And if I were this guy, if I were this terrorist, Ahmed Abu Katala, I'd blame the video. Mark my words, when this guy ends up in civilian court, in federal court, I would blame the video. If I were him, I'd say, no, me no Al-Qaeda, no Al-Qaeda, no Al-Qaeda, no. The video, he insult my religion. He make me so mad. I see the video. How dare you insult the Quran, the Prophet Muhammad, Allah. I get so mad. I just pick up a gun and I couldn't control myself. They may even let him off. If I were him, I'd say the video made me do it. What do you say, Boston? 617-266-6868. Was this staged by Obama to distract attention from all of his numerous failures? And do you think he will plead in court that the video made him do it? 617-266-6868. Kevin, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. Jeff, the true miracle is Vinny. Most people don't know in the audience over the years he's played Paul Revere. He's going to be back to ride again, and I am so glad that you said that fourth miracle is we're going to throw all the bums out. Was this staged? How many times, even as Vinny said, the pardon king is DOJ Eric Holder. With Billy Clinton on the last day, some of the worst people wanted for years, okay, are ones that were put away. Mark Rich and company, Denise, played around with Hillary in that cozy relationship, and you wonder how they bought the home when he had legal fees after legal fees. Again, who did Eric Holder pardon? And Eric Holder also served as a lawyer, a solicitor for inmates in Guantanamo Bay. For him to sign off these last 5 weeks, I just say the American public cannot be fooled anymore. All right, how many times can someone call fire? Even on the 6th, he goes to Normandy on D-Day. But on the 65th, when Nicolas Sarkozy at the time had a military escort, Obama was in Europe, he failed to go. Everything is waking up, and let the impeachment, let the riots begin. Even as Russ said, what's going to bring us down is our economy. Okay, we are going down, and it's just...
Oh, I got a story for everybody. Trust me. I've been warning about this for a long time. Inflation is on the rise. And once inflation it's like a genie. Once that thing's out of the bottle, it's very hard to put it back in. But no, look, to me, it's very obvious. Imagine if you were that filmmaker, that poor Arab Christian who got tossed in jail for a year for making the video. Do you want to talk about some? Think about it. He's the only guy so far that's actually paid the price for that, for anything going on in Benghazi, and he had nothing to do with Benghazi. So this poor schmuck who they toss in jail for making that anti-Muslim video, he's the only one that spent time in prison. If I were this guy, whatever, Ahmed Abu Katala, Mohammed al-Mohammed, okay? If I'm Mohammed al-Mohammed, video. You insult my religion, video. That's what drives me to do it. I agree with Hillary, Obama, and Susan Rice. It was the video. Don't blame me. Blame the video. And apparently it's going to be in California court, very likely. Some liberal judge, I swear to you, is going to buy it and say, well, it was the video. He could walk out I could swear I could see this happening. He walk out onto the streets of California, let's say, San Francisco or LA, and say, hey, do another Benghazi right here. 617-266-6868. Bruce, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Welcome.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did another Benghazi right here. And, this guy wouldn't even be around to even consider even thinking about it, Jeff, if we had gone in and done what we were supposed to do with the dear leader. But, there's a lot of good golf courses out in California. Maybe Obama will go out there and bring the wife, and she can make sure he's eating properly. And maybe she can teach him how to eat an ear of corn through a chain-link fence.
By the way, I swear to you, the average, just as a true fact, you can look this up, the average inmate at Guantanamo Bay has put on 40 pounds. They're monsters. They're whales. I mean, they're huge. If anybody needs Weight Watchers, trust me, it's those guys at Gitmo. pizza, hot dogs, hamburgers, you name it. It's a buffet. 2 soft drinks for every meal. 2 soft drinks, 2 bottles of water, 2 bottles of milk. Okay, you name it. Where's Marxist Michelle? Notice, she goes after our kids. I don't see her going down to Gitmo and lecturing those terrorists. Hey, you're losing your waistline. You're blowing up on us. And look at the obesity crisis. No, we got a problem with terrorists. They're getting too heavy. They're too chubby. 617-266-6868. I would send Michelle down to Gitmo. I think I found a mission for Michelle. Stop nagging us. Nag those guys at Guantanamo Bay. Steve, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning, Jeff.
Hey, Steve.
How you doing?
Good. How are you, my friend?
Good, thanks. Think about this, all right? They catch this guy, right? 25 years ago when I was in this would have been a kill mission. This guy's not a head of state. This guy would have been killed on sight, and it would have been forgotten. Now they bring him in, okay? There's going to be a civilian trial. So is this guy going to be found guilty about what? A month before the 2016 election? Because, this trial's not going to go very fast because, they need discovery, they need evidence, they need to take their time to make sure that they get a conviction. And then Hillary's going to come out and go, I told you we'd get this guy.
Brilliant. I could so easily see that scenario happening. It takes about, 2 years. And then the judge, whatever. You got a judge, you go, yeah, I got to save Hillary's bacon. She comes out and says, you see, why are Republicans obsessed about what happened 4 years ago? We got the guy. We got him. We threw the book at him. Elect me first female president. I'll keep you safe. Paul, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Go.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hey, Paul.
This is so troubling because, Obama's moves, you want to say, boy, this guy's a chess master, but he's not. He's so blatantly obvious. I feel like there's a few of us, the listeners of the show and stuff, that are the adults in the room at a children's magic show. All the kids are mesmerized by the sleight of hand of this buffoon at the front of the room, while all the adults, we scratch our head watching the bumbling and stumbling and think, geez, how the heck is... do they not see that the quarter doesn't come from their ear? But lo and behold, that group of buffoons in this country, they just applaud and they're amazed at, oh, see? Look what they're doing. I'm beside myself because I just sit here in stunned amazement, just like, how can you be so
stupid,
childlike?
So stupid.
Yeah, stupid. They're just... I can't... There's not a better word. How can you be so stupid not to see what is being done to you and to us and follow this guy as he totally shams everything?
Paul, I got to tell you, there's a very famous journalist. He was very good. His name was H.L. Mencken. And he once wrote famously, never underestimate the stupidity of the American people. Or as P.T. Barnum once put it, there's a sucker born every minute. In America, there's a sucker born every minute. The problem is this, Paul, in your analogy. When you see a magic act, the parents are laughing. How could the kids not see what a fraud this guy is? And the kids are all mesmerized. The problem is, today, the kids are all voting. And slowly, there's more of them than there is of us. That's the problem. Rob, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on the Kuhner Report. Go ahead, my friend.
Maybe I should go to Gitmo because I'm having trouble putting food on the table and paying my mortgage because of this lousy economy. And here's my mind on Iraq, Afghanistan, and Libya. We've spent trillions of dollars, untold blood over there, and what has been accomplished? Nothing. I don't care what happens over there. I let them kill each other. That's not my country. Bring those resources back home and put people to work.
Rob, I'll tell you this. If you went to Gitmo, believe me, buddy, you'd be putting on 30, 40 pounds. I'm not kidding. They have breakfast buffets, lunch buffets, dinner buffets, all you can eat. They even have those, what do you call them, those Eskimo Klondike bars? You want Eskimo Klondike? I swear to you. Whatever, what do they call Klondike bars or Eskimo bars, whatever they are. But anyway, Klondike bars. You know the ice cream sandwiches? They have ice cream sandwiches. You want barbecue chips. You want salt and vinegar. You want, I swear to you, you want ketchup, Diet Pepsi, Diet Coke. Some prefer Coke, some prefer Pepsi. They have a soccer field for them to try to work off all that food. They love the soccer field. At Gitmo right now, there's testimony by guards. They love the World Cup. I know the ratings in America are sky high, unprecedented. In Gitmo, they also love the World Cup. They watch every game on a flat screen plasma television. And by the way, they cheer for Iran and Algeria. They love Iran, the Muslim countries, Iran and Algeria. And apparently they keep saying, death to America, whenever Algeria or Iran scores a goal. And then they put up their hand and you want popcorn? Okay, what do you want? You popcorn? 2 hot dogs for you? Okay, what do you want? A couple Snickers bar and a Diet Pepsi, right? Okay, yeah, you got it. I swear to God, and to the left, that's our Auschwitz. To the American left, that's Auschwitz. Greg, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Go ahead, Greg.
Good morning, Mr. Kuhner. This is your proud infidel. Hey, when are we going to outfit Michelle Obama with a burqa?
Well, I mean, maybe she'd feel very much at home there. Now, she would criticize their eating habits. She'd say, even myself, Harvard, Princeton educated, I didn't know how to feed my kids. And this is torture. We are now committing torture against these Gitmo detainees. We're fattening them up too much. We're junking them to death. And I want to call in Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch. I want an investigation by Congress. This is outrageous, and they should be freed on the grounds of on humanitarian grounds, because we're giving them too much junk food. We're killing them with food. And I'm telling you, the libs in this country would stand up and salute. That's the new human rights cause for the left. Free everybody at Gitmo, because we're junking them to death. Glenn, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Go.
Jeff, good morning. Wow, that was quick. Okay, so they catch this guy, the mastermind, right? This mastermind terrorist.
Yes.
So they're admitting that it was planned. But 2 years ago, they were saying it was a video. So what is it? Was it planned or was it not planned? I don't get it.
Fog of war, Glenn. Hillary Clinton was on last night on Fox News. I'll get to that later in the show. What a puff interview. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing with Brett Baer and Greta Van Susteren. But let that go. It was Brett. It was the fog of war. I vacillated. On the one hand, from 1 second, I said it was the video. The next second, I said it was terrorism. Then I said the video. And then I said it was the terrorism. Brett, it was second to second, minute to minute. We were changing our assessments, Brett. And he's standing there like a dodo, I swear, just nodding his head. And you can tell the order was given by Roger Ailes. The order was given by Roger Ailes and Rupert Murdoch, because Murdoch is a big fan of Hillary Clinton. Murdoch says if there is to be a Democrat in 2016, he wants to see Hillary in the White House because, like him, she's a hawk. Like him, she's part of the war party. Like him, she doesn't mind sending troops abroad to get them slaughtered. So he's her favorite Democrat. So they went easy as pie on her. You couldn't go easier on Hillary than Greta Van Susteren and Brett Baer. I swear to you, NPR was tougher on Hillary Clinton than Brett Baer and Greta Van Susteren. In fact, Brittany, do you have the clip of about Benghazi? Okay, here is Brett Baer asking her about, well, was it the video or not the video? Check out this. It was both. It was terrorism and the video, everything all at once. It was everything. Roll it, Brittany.
Madam Secretary, in your testimony before the Senate on Benghazi in January 2013, you stated this, quote, I certainly did not know of any reports that contradicted the intelligence community talking points at the time that Ambassador Rice went on the TV shows, the Sunday shows. Do you stand by that statement?
I do, Brett, and I wrote about this at length in my book, a whole chapter on the attack on Benghazi. This was the fog of war. You know, my own assessment careened from the video had something to do with it. The video had nothing to do with it. It may have affected some people. It didn't affect other people. And I think the conclusion to draw, because we were not just monitoring what was happening in Benghazi once it began to unfold, but remember we had a very dangerous assault on our embassy in Cairo that same day, which was clearly linked to that video. So I was trying to make sense of it. And, I think that the investigations that have been carried out basically conclude we can't say that everybody was influenced and we can't say everybody wasn't, but what the intelligence community said was spontaneous protests, and that is what at the time they thought.
It was the video, but there was terrorism and we weren't sure, and I went back and forth, and I know what Susan Rice said. Susan Rice blamed the video, and I blamed the video, and Obama blamed the video, but we changed our assessment 4-6 weeks later, you see, and it was the fog of war. It's just the fog of war. But look, what difference does it make? We've captured the ringleader. It's settled. It's done now. You can already see the line of attack. This was nothing more than smoke and mirrors. They could have arrested this guy 2 days after Benghazi. The New York Times got a hold of the guy a month after the attack. Now, all of a sudden, just think about it. You've got the Gitmo 5. You've got serious economic, political turmoil at home. The disaster in Iraq. He's getting hammered on all counts. There are now opinion polls that came out last week, CNN polls, saying 6 out of 10 Americans believe that something seriously went wrong in Benghazi, that it was a terrorist attack, and they're not satisfied with the answers given by the Clinton administration. 6 out of 10. And now, all of a sudden, it's incredible. Just out of the blue, Shazam, they captured the guy. It's incredible. So Brett Baer then asked the obvious question. Tell me, Secretary Hillary, did you ever discuss the video with the dear leader? My recollection, Brett. No, that night. Did you discuss the video with the night of the attack? Go ahead. Shoot, Brittany.
About the video with President Obama.
I don't know that I talked about it with him at that conversation. We had since on numerous occasions, because part of what we were trying to sort out is what caused this. I mean, I had a very clear sense of priorities. Protect our people, get them to safety,
you saved them.
Make sure that other attacks or threatened attacks at other embassies or other American posts are not going to happen. We need to get much more support from the governments of the countries where we are posting our people. And let's learn what happened so that we can try to prevent it in real time. So I know that there is a lot of questions, and I know you and your viewers have a lot of questions. And I would recommend that people read the unclassified version of the Accountability Review Board, which you can get off the State Department website. Read what congressional committees have already put out, because you will get the best information we currently have.
Basically, read the whitewash report. Read the whitewash report and take my look. I don't know when I spoke to him about the video. I can't, Brett. He was just, Brett, you have to understand something. He was snoozing. I walked into the White House. I said, Barry, Mr. President, hello. He was out.